Hi, everybody. I'm here with the miserable liberal and Ron Placone.
Howdy, howdy.
I'm miserable.
So I'm reading. I think she's lying when she says that. I'm reading. So we all lament the corruption inside the Democratic Party. Now, we always knew that the Republican Party was in bed with business. That's the role of the Republican Party. And Democrats were supposed to represent workers and blue-collar people and everybody else, right? And so there was a nice tension between the pro-business and the pro-worker party, and so that's what was supposed to work. But what's been going on since the late 70s, early 80s, the Democrats decided to become like Republicans and take money from the people they're supposed to be fighting against, right? Meaning Wall Street, military-industrial complex, or not fighting against, but regulating and reining in. And you can't take money from the people you're supposed to be regulating. It just doesn't. Why would they give you money if it wasn't going to have an effect? That's why they give you money, because it has a big effect, which is why we don't have single-payer health care. Why? Because of the money that the pharmaceutical and insurance industry gives to politicians. That's why. That's the only reason why we don't have it. That's why we don't have public option, because Barack Obama was paid by the pharmaceutical industry and then to make sure we didn't have it. Same thing with the Wall Street. Dylan Ratigan has laid this out for us. This isn't my ideas. These are award-winning journalists, smarty pants guys. So that was the thing with Hillary Clinton. People kept saying, you got to vote for Hillary over Trump. And I kept saying, no, this is horrible. And this is exactly what they want. In fact, Hillary Clinton, if you read WikiLeaks, they did exactly what Malcolm X said they would do. Malcolm X said that to get you to vote for a fox, they have to show you a wolf. And that's what Hillary Clinton did. She wanted the news media to elevate Donald Trump. So she knew she could run against Donald Trump and it would be easier for her. How are you going to get people to vote for a fox like Hillary Clinton? You got to show them a wolf like Donald Trump. And it didn't work. Think about how bad it is in the country that you couldn't get people to vote for Hillary Clinton over Donald Trump. Think about how bad it is that people voted for Donald Trump. That's how bad. And people don't take that as, oh, wow, things are really effed up in the country and we maybe should reinvigorate our political parties to represent the people. No, that's not what they do. They do the exact opposite. They go, oh, ignore everything and pretend like the symptom is the problem. And why do I say that? Why do I say Trump is a symptom and not the problem? Because the problem is the corruption of our government by corporate caste, and everyone knows that. That's why we can't have nice things like the rest of the world. That's why we don't have single payer or even a public option. That's why we don't have free college. That's why we have the richest country in the world with the biggest income disparity. Why? Because corporate cash has corrupted our government and our parties. They're completely corrupted. That's not, well, I'm going to show you. So this was in The Intercept. Prominent Democratic fundraisers realign to lobby for Trump's agenda. Huh? For what? So it's a great article by Lee Fang in The Intercept, and he's going to just point out some. By the way, I'm leaving out a lot of them. These are just going to be some of the, he says, lobbying records show that some Democratic fundraisers who raised record amounts of campaign cash for Clinton are now retained by the top telecom interests to help, repeal the strong net neutrality protections established during the Obama administration. So the people who were raising cash for Hillary Clinton now are lobbyists, and they're lobbying for policies that the Trump administration wants to implement, meaning getting rid of net neutrality. Hillary Clinton fundraisers are now working against the people. Well, they always were, right?
Yeah, I mean, this wouldn't be the first time that they're not very media rights friendly. I mean, they proved that to us in 1996, the Clinton administration did.
Yeah. Oh, you mean,
with the Telecom Act. I mean, I consider net neutrality this generation's Telecom Act.
Yeah, you're right.
So, I mean, there's nothing surprising about that. It's very disparaging.
So Bill Clinton in 1996 was referring to the Telecom Act of 1996, which is why we went from 50 giant media companies to 6. So we don't have a diversity of opinion. Look at what they're doing, Russia, ubiquitous. They're all ubiquitous in their hatred of Trump. their over-scrutinization. Others are working on behalf of... So what Bill Clinton did in 1996, rewrote the laws, and he said the reason why we're allowing one company to own a newspaper or several of them and several new radio stations and several TV stations in the same market, which used to be forbidden because you need diversity of opinion in a democracy. They got rid of that. Bill Clinton said, why? He said, because of the internet changes everything now. Now we have the internet. So we don't have to keep these old media rules, which was bullshit. And now they're coming for the internet. That's what net neutrality is. And now the people who were big fundraisers for Hillary Clinton are now working actively to destroy net neutrality. Others... and the other people, other fundraisers for Hillary Clinton who aren't working to repeal net neutrality and screw over everybody, what are the other ones doing? They're working on behalf of for-profit prisons. Yes. While others still are paid to help corporate interests pushing alongside Trump to weaken financial regulations. This is what Hillary Clinton fundraisers are doing now. They're weakening financial regulations on Wall Street. They're lobbying for-profit prisons. And they're trying to ruin net neutrality. At least one prominent Clinton backer is working for a health insurance company on a provision that was included in the House Republican bill to gut the Affordable Care Act. While Republican lobbyists are more in demand, liberal lobbyists are doing brisk business that has them reaching out to fellow Democrats to endorse, or at least tamp down vocal opposition to, Trump agenda items. These are Hillary Clinton's fundraisers are now working for Trump. I don't know if there's anything I can do physically to kind of make this land, this point. How many fucking faces I can make? How about this? Whoa!
That did it.
How about this? What? Hillary Clinton fundraisers are now working for private profit prisons? Whoa! The biggest fundraisers for the Clinton campaign, Democratic lobbyists such as Ingrid Duran, Vincent Roberti, Steve Elmendorf, El Motor, and Archie Siddiqui are now lobbying on behalf of AT&T, Verizon, or Comcast on net neutrality. So Hillary Clinton's biggest fundraisers are now trying to stick it to you as hard as they can. Hillary Clinton's biggest fundraisers are now working with the Trump administration to screw you as hard as they can over net neutrality. Hillary Clinton's biggest fundraisers are now working with Trump to screw over everybody except the owners of the internet. Hillary Clinton's largest fundraisers are now working with Trump to screw over net neutrality. I'm going to keep saying it. You got to vote for Hillary Clinton. Fucking jokes. These companies dominate the telecom industry, which is working with the Trump administration to unwind one of President Barack Obama's biggest accomplishments. A well-known lobbyist who runs in powerful Democratic circles, Heather Podesta. A well-known lobbyist who runs in powerful Democratic circles, Heather Podesta, volunteered for Clinton during the New Hampshire primaries, and she collected at least $400,000 for the campaign. So one person collected almost $500,000 for Hillary Clinton. One person, $500,000 to the Hillary Clinton campaign. In recent months, Podesta has tweeted from the Center for American Progress Ideas Conference. So the Center for American Progress, that's that thing John Podesta started, Hillary Clinton's campaign manager. That's his lobbying thing, PAC thing. That's his think tank. That's his think tank. It's his think tank. That's now where Neera Tanden, who smears veterans, works. That's where Neera Tanden works. The Center for American Progress. She has tweeted from the Center for American Progress Ideas Conference and even billed as a platform, an event billed as a platform for the resist movement. So you remember what I said about the resist movement? That when the Center for American Progress organizes a resist movement, they're not organizing a resist movement. They're organizing a don't look at how fucked up the Democrats are movement and get yourself distracted with a symptom, meaning Trump. That's what those are. So a resist movement, when I kept saying, well, no. When you see someone like Neera Tanden or Debbie Wasserman Schultz or Donna Brazile or Cory Booker at a resist rally, they're what we're supposed to be resisting. Chuck Schumer is what we're supposed to be resisting. The corporatism is what we're resisting, which means Tom Perez, the Democratic National Committee, Donna Brazile, Nancy Pelosi, Chuck Schumer, Tom Perez, all those people. You are what being resisted. Center for American Progress, you are being what's resisted. So they're just hijacking what's going on to further their corporate agenda. And the Center for American Progress, they're in bed with all these people. Podesta, do we find out who?
Yes. Heather Podesta was married to Tony Podesta, who is John Podesta's brother.
So Tony Podesta and John Podesta founded the Podesta lobbying group, which is one of the biggest lobbying groups in the world.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So she was married to, okay, so now we know who she is. Okay, she's fantastic. Podesta, so the sister-in-law
Correct.
of Hillary Clinton's campaign manager, the sister-in-law, the wife of Hillary Clinton's campaign manager's partner. She said, Podesta, whose New Year's resolution was to, quote, make lobbying great again. These are the people who Hillary Clinton surrounds herself with. Aren't you glad? Sorry, Steph. Aren't you glad you didn't vote for her? Steph, go ahead.
You almost get the feeling that the corporate elite only care about corporations.
Isn't that amazing? It is like that. So I don't know if you see this. I have it in red. It says, make lobbying great again. That was Hillary Clinton's, one of her top fundraisers, slogan.
And they weren't doing it ironically.
No.
Not they were for real about that.
That's something they wanted to do.
That should be a slogan at one of our shows as a joke. That's where something like that belongs.
Yes.
Well, I actually think when they say the resist movement, I actually think they're being ironic. I think what they're saying is resist movement.
See, I think they're resisting progressive change. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think that is what they're resisting.
That's why.
Well put, both of you. Well put.
That's why they're
you're
not talking revolution, because revolution, it sounds too catastrophic for the future. Back to you, Jimmy.
So that's her slogan, make lobbying great again. And she has adapted to Republican rule, meaning now she's adapted. Now Hillary Clinton did get in. Now Trump's in. So they adapt. And how did she adapt? By rebranding her lobbying firm from Heather Podesta and Partners to Invariant.
Oh.
Now it's called Invariant. Because if it was called Heather Podesta and Partners, they would go, are you related to John Podesta, that Hillary Clinton campaign manager? You can't work with Trump. So they had to rename it. And they did. Now it's called Invariant, a name change to reflect the expanding bipartisan team with ties to the Trump administration. So they're bringing in people with ties to the Trump administration so they can lobby the Trump administration or do work for the Trump administration. That's what they want to do. They want to lobby on behalf of the Trump administration.
Heather Podesta really is making lobbying great again.
She really is. Records show Podesta has lobbied this year on behalf of financial management and insurance giants Prudential and New York Life on the fiduciary rule, the regulation fought for by the Obama administration that was designed to require financial planning companies to act in the best interest of their clients. So things are so bad on Wall Street that they had to write a rule that said you can't on purpose screw over your own clients. That's how bad it is on Wall Street. That's how corrupt it is. Like Chris had just said, they steal it right out in the open and they don't give a shit that you see. They don't care. That's Hillary Clinton doing speeches for $600,000 to $800,000 right out in the open. Doesn't care. Barack Obama comes back in public life, does a $500,000 speech for a bank. He doesn't care. They're doing it right out in the open. They don't care. So that rule, by the regulation fought by, So now they're getting rid of. They want to get rid of that rule, that people on Wall Street they can screw you over on purpose. Early in his administration, in a decision cheered by the industry, Trump ordered a delay in the implementation of the rule. Here's another one. Steve Elmendorf, a former senior advisor to the Clintons' 2008 run, maintained a high-profile role with Clinton's 2016 run, raising $341,000 for her campaign. He is now one of the most prominent corporate lobbyists in Washington, D.C., and records show that Elmendorf, too, lobbied on the fiduciary rule. So these are all Hillary Clinton people trying to wreck the Wall Street regulation, wreck net neutrality. A former Democratic National Committee fundraiser from Bill Clinton's days as president, Richard Sullivan, served as a major fundraiser for Hillary Clinton's campaign just last year. He bundled at least $345,000 for the campaign, according to Federal Election Commission records. Sullivan is also registered lobbyist for the public relations and lobbying firm Capitol Counsel, where he works on behalf of private prison giant GEO Group to convince lawmakers of the benefits of public-private partnerships and the delivery of secure residential care. They call it secure residential care.
Yeah, I mean that is just vomit word salad that is really tying and putting a bow on a true turd.
Wow. Let me get that again. Secure residential care in correctional and detention. Wow. So one of their biggest fundraisers now working on behalf of private prisons. That GEO Group that he's working for, the GEO Group, is particularly close to the Trump administration. It was one of the few firms to donate corporate money to a Trump super PAC during the election. And now the Hillary Clinton fundraiser is working for that. So they were one of the first few firms to donate corporate money to a Trump super PAC during the election, finance the inauguration, and openly celebrate Trump's decision to vastly expand the detention and removal of undocumented immigrants. So this GEO Group is going to make money off misery of the poorest people in the world getting screwed over by Trump's immigration, and Hillary Clinton's fundraisers are there helping them. And do you think... The firm was among the first private prison companies to win a contract from the Trump administration for the Federal Immigration Detention Center, a deal worth $110 million frickin' dollars. So I'll stop. There's many more examples. I won't go into them, but there you go. So meet the new boss, same as the old boss. Aren't you glad you didn't vote for Hillary Clinton? I sure as hell goddamn am.
Can I add a quick aside that I noticed, and this is getting back to the kind of net neutrality thing. I think there was something in the article saying it was, one of Obama's accomplishments. And, I'll say, to be fair here, Obama did do the right thing at the 11th hour. Pretty much right at the deadline, he did the right thing. He sent the message to Tom Wheeler. That was the right thing. I'll give that to him, sure. But that's not his accomplishment. That's the accomplishment of the people that crashed the FCC website screaming to preserve net neutrality. That's why I said, if they're ever really going to get rid of it, I think it's going to be at a time when people are being very passive. So stay aggressive, especially on that issue, because you got an FCC chair that wants to get rid of it now. And if you ever have a Democrat in the White House that's against net neutrality, that's probably when it would likely go.
I'd be surprised if it doesn't go now. I mean, they did pass that rule.
Oh, yeah, it's at risk now.
Because they did pass that rule where they can sell your internet browsing to anybody, the highest bidder. Mm-hmm. So I want to check into that website that was supposed to buy the Republican politicians who passed this bill and buy their web browsing history and share it with everyone.
Yeah. Yeah, we did a video on that.
We're going to double check into that. So there you go. I don't know how you feel. So what this highlights is the complete corruption of our political class. Left, right, Republican, Democrat. And that's what we've been saying, that it's time for a revolution because this bullshit voting for Democrats to keep away the bad guys is exactly what that is. Bullshit. Barack Obama's in bed with fucking everybody. Hillary Clinton's in bed with everybody. And just like they're the same thing, baby. Oh, how can you say that? I just did it. I just did this. Do you see this article? You see this article? Do you know why there's fracking pipelines all over this country? Because Barack Obama removed the restriction from exporting fossil fuels to the rest of the world. So now they're building pipelines under aquifers so they can export natural gas that was fracked in the United States and send it to China. Because Barack Obama made that happen. Barack Obama made the banks bigger. Barack Obama made I don't have to go through it. Bush tax cuts permanent, and then tried to cut Social Security and Medicare to pay for it. Took 2 wars to turn to 7. So now everybody's, and what I like to see is how mad everybody and upset everybody on the left was about Trump selling $100 million worth of weapons to Saudi Arabia, right? So now everybody's awake and now everybody's watching because nobody was watching before because we were doing the same shit. Same shit. So there you go. I guess I did that story in case you weren't sure how bad things were. In case you weren't sure how corrupt 100% Hillary Clinton and her people around her are. They're horrible.
And why maybe when you say, I want my politicians to not take corporate money, you're not being some unreasonable purist. You're just recognizing a failed system.
Yes. Yeah, what we're doing is recognizing a failed system. So that's what this is. You have to recognize the failed system. And the failed system is the way the Democratic National Committee is doing business and the way the Democrats are doing business. That's the failed system. Right now, Chuck Schumer's at least recognizing that we have to have an economic message. I don't know what it's going to be because he can only say what Jamie Dimon and Lloyd Blankfein allow him to say. So it ain't going to be much of an economic message, believe me. Or maybe he'll pretend that it's an economic message and say things we want to hear, but then do one of these things to Wall Street. We ain't never going to implement it. Just like the guy who's the Assembly Speaker in California, who said he's supporters of single payer when he's running an election, and then when it comes for him to pass the bill, he kills it. Because they're in bed with Big Pharma and the health insurance industry. So maybe they'll say one thing and do the other. Which is what Democrats do. Right now, that's what the Democrats do. They give as fealty to progressive policies, and then as soon as it comes time to implement them, they undercut them. Barack Obama didn't give you a public option, and that wasn't accidental. So this is why when we elected a left-wing government, we got a right-wing healthcare program anyway. This is why. Because they surround themselves with people who are working against the people. They're surrounding themselves with corporate lobbyists. They're surrounding themselves with big money. So what is the point of being elected if when you're elected you can't do the job that the people want you to do because you're beholden to your donors? There's no point. What's the point of saving a society if you don't save the things that make it great, like liberty, freedom? So there you go. I'm glad I could bring you that story. Lee Fang, great job. Anything else? No, nothing else. That's it. It's worse than you thought. Hey, the next live Jimmy Dore show is July 17th. That's right, July 17th. That's a Monday in Burbank, California. Get your tickets right down here or go to jimmydorecomedy.com. July 17th, Burbank, California, live Jimmy Dore show.